Hello friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark, and today I have my first Halloween card, and it features some amazing products from Hello Bluebird. I just love how this card turned out. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to get my background finished. I had an opportunity to dry. First, I cut a panel out of some slate gray cardstock using these nested deckled edge dies from Hello Bluebird. I just love these. I think they're so cool. And then I'm also using the Halloween text background from My Favorite Things. I believe this one is still available. But you could use any text background that you have. This one just happens to have some Halloween text in it. And I'm also using some white pigment ink to add that text to the background here. Most of this will be kind of covered up. It's just to add some interest to the background. And I realized whenever I was editing this video that every Halloween card that I've done in these past couple of years has started out with Hello Bluebird. I think the last 2 years I started with Hello Bluebird, and this year I'm doing it the same. And I think I've used the same Boo to You text die as well, which I think is fun. I love their products. They're super cute. Everything goes really well together. You can really mix and match with what they have. So it's just a lot of fun. And I really love doing this technique for the background where you take a dark cardstock and a white pigment ink and you create this fun kind of moody background. I've done this quite a bit, and you can do this for any season. I have done it in the past for Christmas. I have done it for birthday cards. It is a really good staple to kind of fall back on, and I really think it's a fun way to create a card. So I stamped that down with the white pigment ink, and then I went around the edges after I dried it a little bit with some black soot distress ink, and I just inked the edges around just to add a little bit of interest. And then I'm going in with some of this distress mica spray stain in Tombstone or Iron Gate. I'm sorry, it's Iron Gate. And I just spritzed the background to add a little sparkle and shine. For my greeting itself, I wanted to do a purple font or a purple text. I have purple cardstock, but I wanted it to be a little bit more interesting than just some flat purple. So I went in with some white cardstock, and I'm ink blending on with some Villainous Potion Distress ink, and just enough so I have for this Boo to You text die from Hello Bluebird. And once I have enough ink blended, I'm going to go in with the Distress Mica Spray Stain. I can't remember what this one's called. I don't have it on hand with me right now, but I'll make sure all of the products that I used in the description box will be down in the description box below. And I do apologize if my voice sounds a little funny. I have been a little bit sick, so I do apologize about that. Next, I'm taking some of these pumpkins from Hello Bluebird. Again, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, and I do apologize. So I just cut some of those out using some scraps of orange cardstock from my stash, and I'm just going in with a little bit of Copic marker to add some interest to these little pumpkins. Now you could definitely do this with any coloring medium. You could do it with ink blending, colored pencils, watercolors. You could leave them flat. Either way, you could even use pattern paper, which I think would be really fun. And I'm just adding some shading to these. I'm not really following any kind of, method to coloring these in. I'm just kind of going along with the etched lines that are on these pumpkins that the die cuts out, just to create a little bit of interest in these pumpkins. I'm using YR04 and YR07 for these lighter colored pumpkins. I really think these are fun. I think last year I used these to create a card, and I colored all the pumpkins in using different shades like greens and cream, which was really fun. And I'll link to it if I remember at the top of the screen here if you want to check that video out as well. For these darker ones, I'm using YR27, and I'm also going to be using YR24 to color in, YR18 to color these ones in. Again, it's really subtle. You definitely don't have to do this, but it is one of my favorite ways to add interest to any kind of die cut is to use Copic markers or even colored pencils, which is really fun if you had a little bit more time. Next, I die cut some faces for these little jack-o'-lanterns using that same slate gray cardstock that I had used on the background. Now, my thought process here was that I was going to use this that I cut out to be a guide to help me line everything up. You definitely don't really need it. I was trying to like think outside the box and make things easier for myself. It wasn't hard to do it this way. You definitely can, but you don't need to. You can just eyeball it and line it up however you like. Jack-o'-lanterns aren't perfect. I definitely know that the pumpkins that I have carved over the years have never turned out perfect. They've always been a little wonky and not straight. So you don't have to do this. If you want to, you can. I did for the first couple of pumpkins, and then I realized that I definitely didn't need to. So you could skip this using this little kind of guide to help you line everything up. I really needed it just to make sure I had the right eyes to go with each of the jack-o'-lanterns. So you could leave that step out, but I really like the way that these turned out. I love these little jack-o'-lantern faces. They are super cute, and I just love that they're all different. They all have different faces. Some of them are super cute. Some of them are really goofy, which I really, really like. This one here that I'm working on now is my favorite face. I just think he's really cute and quirky. So again, you don't have to use that little guide. I ended up not using it for these last couple of pumpkins because it was just so much easier just to line things up and glue them down. I did speed this process up a little bit just because I wanted to move the video on a little bit. So this last pumpkin, I'm just going to add that glue where I want to put his face, and you're good to go. So again, you don't necessarily have to use a guide to line this up. They go together perfectly fine without. Gonna get the last little eye on here, and it was giving me a little bit of trouble. And I love how they're all different sizes. They're just super fun, super cute. And then for the stems, I just die cut some green cardstock for their little stems and glued them to the top as well. Now you could add a little bit of shading if you like to these, but they're so small that I just used the plain green cardstock, and it worked out great. And I love that they're all different sizes and types, just like pumpkins are, and you can really mix and match these. If you wanted to give one of the little ones a giant stem, you can. I was at a farmer's market recently. I went with my dad to check it out, and they had some pumpkins out there, and those were the largest pumpkins I've ever seen in my life. They were so huge. Their stems were ginormous. I can't believe how big they were. I wish I had taken a picture of it because they were just, I couldn't believe how big they were. And they were really decently priced, so I thought about picking some up for my kids to carve. Once I have all of my little pumpkins ready to go, we can work on our next little element, which is I have this little ghost that I wanted to add. This also comes from another Hello Bluebird set, and I wanted to have him holding a little pumpkin. I wanted to add him in here just to kind of round out the card. So I'm just adding a little bit of shading to him, again with my Copic markers. I'm using a C2 and a C1 and my colorless blender to add just a little bit of shading to him. Again, it's a ghost. It's, you can kind of do what you like. You could do ink blending again, colored pencils, or you could just leave them alone. You could even cut them out of vellum, which I think would be fun, which is a really neat way to add ghosts to cards. I added some little rosy cheeks. I know ghosts don't actually have rosy cheeks, but it's Halloween, you can have fun with it. And then for my little pumpkin, I wanted to add a little jack-o'-lantern face on there. So I went in with a dark Copic marker. You could definitely go in with just a pen and add a little face to him. And then I colored in his little stem as well. So it looked like he was holding a little jack-o'-lantern, which I thought was really, really sweet. So there's our little ghost. He's all ready to go. And then we have all of our other elements ready. So now that my purple is all dry, I'm going to take that die and I want to cut it out. Now, I don't want to get anything on my die itself, just in case it's not completely dry whenever I die cut it. So I'm taking a piece of wax paper and putting down over top of that. So when I run it through my die cutting machine, if there is any areas that are not dry or anything like that, it won't stick to my die. So my die stays nice and clean. And then you can easily just peel off that wax paper off the die cut there, and you have a perfectly good die cut. And it just kind of takes away any areas, like I mentioned, that may not be dry all the way, and kind of takes that stickiness away. So again, here you can see it just peels right off, and you're going to have a nice clean die cut. So this works with anything that you might have. If you're doing any kind of die cutting with, if you do any kind of heat embossing, which I've done before, where you use gold or silver heat embossing and you die cut with it, you can use that wax paper to kind of help keep everything nice and smooth. Now that my background is all ready, I'm going to kind of figure out how I want to get everything set up here. I love these little ghosts and pumpkins. They are super cute. And I definitely, I did 5 pumpkins. And then the 6th one is in the little ghost hand. So it's kind of a representative of my little family of 6, which I think is fun. So now I'm going to get my card base ready. It is just a top folding A2 sized white note card, and then my die cut panel, that is the Deckle edge, it is going to leave just a really thin white border around my card, and I wanted that because I'm going to stamp my secondary greeting on white cardstock as well. Just kind of ties everything in together, the white ghost, the white greeting, and the white card base. I'm going to stamp down a greeting from the Itty Bitty Boo sentiment stamp set from My Favorite Things, and it says, "Hope your day is spooktacular." So this would be a nice like birthday card, even though it doesn't say happy birthday. It could be, just a card to send somebody, that you're thinking of them around this time of year, somebody who loves Halloween maybe. It's funny enough, I personally am not a huge Halloween fan. I think I've mentioned this in previous years, but I am just not a huge Halloween fan. I like making Halloween cards. They're fun. They're, unique. You can kind of have a little bit of artistic liberty with Halloween cards. You can get away with all the splatter and, kind of making things a little bit messy, which is fun. But personally, in my life, I don't really do Halloween. We carve pumpkins. My kids love that. And we do take them to go trick-or-treating, but that is the extent of our Halloween. We don't decorate. We don't do anything like that. It's just not our thing. But I really enjoy making these cards for people who love Halloween. So I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. It is just a fun way to kind of get into the fall spirit, I guess is the way I put it. So I'm taking 3 pieces of black cardstock that I die cut with that same Boo to You to create some dimension on my card. As you guys know, if you follow along for me for quite a while, that I love to do this with any type of word die. I gotta get my little glue mess cleaned up here. Just to add some dimension. Now this is thick enough that you could easily do foam adhesive behind this if you wanted to. I just personally like using up some scraps that I have laying around. If you have a type of cardstock that maybe you're not a huge fan of, something that's a little bit thin, or you just don't like it, you can definitely use that type of cardstock for any type of layering to create dimension. That way you're not wasting it, and you have a use for it. So here you can see kind of where we're going with this. Get our little ghost adhered. Now, I did a little goof here, and I definitely left it in. I completely didn't realize that I did not glue this Boo to You down, and I started adhering everything. I thought it was really funny whenever I realized it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get my ghost adhered here, and everything's going to go great, getting him glued down, and I didn't even glue the Boo to You down. So I was like, why isn't this sticking? And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't sticking. It was super funny, you guys. I like leaving in my little kind of they're not really mistakes, just little errors, because we're all human. We make them. Nobody's perfect. I make mistakes all the time. That's why I do voiceovers, because if you guys could really hear what I say to myself in these videos, you would be surprised. So that's why I'm glad I do voiceovers, because we all make mistakes. Again, this is about having fun and just, being creative. So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to mess up. It's okay if it comes out and you don't really like it. You could grow to like it. I honestly, with this card, I wasn't 100% in love with it. But, you know, as I was working through it and getting things all together, I really do enjoy it. I think it is super cute. And then right here is where I realized that I didn't actually glue it down. So I was like, how am I going to fix this? So I very carefully pulled everything up and added the adhesive to the back to get this glued down. I was just like, oh my gosh, Amanda, what are you doing? Wake yourself up, girl. Get it together. So I glue that down nice and flat, and then I can get my secondary greeting adhered here right above those pumpkins that says, hope your day is spectacular, which I really think is sweet. I love all the little punny sentiments that come with all of these stamp companies, and they're just super fun. And then once I have that all adhered down, I am going to go in with a white gel pen, and I'm going to add a little bit of detail to my pumpkins, just to liven them up a little bit, you know, make them a little bit more fun, just again to add some interest. You can definitely leave this step out if you're not into that, but I think it really kind of brightens them up and, you know, gives them some character. Get these last couple lines put in here. Add some interest to their little eyes. Kind of makes them look like they're, I don't know, alive. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a glitter brush pen. And I am going to add a little bit of glitter to the edges of the pumpkins. Again, just to add some more sparkle. There's a lot going on this card. I'm going to add it to the ghost as well. Again, you can leave this step out, but I really like to add it. I think it just, again, adds some interest. And then on the inside of the card, I'm going to add my last little pumpkin, just to kind of bring everything together. I'm going to put him on the inside of the card. Again, just to bring everything together and finish up this card. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, would you please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe and that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel. Again, I appreciate you stopping by. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! On screen, I have a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel.